we're talking about today. We're talking with Joshua Chambers about his artist reception being held at Lake Street Gallery. Joshua Chambers has a very unique style, exploring kind of the liminal space, I would say, exterior, interior transitions with characters that are exploring environments and sometimes in mischievous ways and sometimes with mishaps. Um, he paints a lot of really amazing figures, chimpanzees that wear life vests and divers with, as you can see, balloons and other things, birds with little strings attached. You would have to check it out. You're going to get to see at least one of his pieces in the work, and if you once you check the article out after this, there's a few of his works, including links to his websites. His art is definitely more unique than anything I've seen in our area. Um, Definitely give it a look see after the interview. His artist reception is going to be happening January 24th at 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. and Lake Street Gallery is near Agora Borealis. Okay, so let me go ahead and bring you guys over to see that interview. I'm sure you enjoyed it. This was a wonderful conversation, and he dives into his process, how he developed his style, and some about teaching art because he is also a professor at Centenary College. All right, let me get you guys to that, and you enjoy. Let's see. Hello, I'm Brittney Hazelton, and this is ArkLaTex Artistry, where we explore the arts in our area. Today's guest is award-winning contemporary artist who is in the Shreveport-Bossier area that's having an artist reception at Lake Street Gallery. And then, go ahead and introduce yourself.
So my name is Joshua Chambers, and like you said, I'm a Shreveport-Bossier area artist. I'm a painter primarily, and then I also am a professor at Centenary College and in studio art, and I live in the area with my daughter and my wife.
Okay, wonderful. So, first, let's talk about the event. When is it?
So it's Friday, January 24th, and it'll be from 5 to 7 at the Lake Street Gallery, which is a couple doors down from the Agora Borealis.
Okay, so it's nearby.
Yeah.
I was thinking that it's hosted by them. Is it part of their entire area? Because I know they kind of own that
I
building.
believe so, yeah. They are hosting the event, and they've been working with Katie and Cam to put the exhibition together, and they've been great about it. And like I said, it's a couple doors down from them, and
Yeah.
yeah, it just allows them, I think, to get their artists outside the normal space and into another really cool venue.
Okay. Yeah. I love Katie. First off, she is amazing
Yeah.
supporter of the arts, and I'm glad that you are getting to do this,
Yeah.
especially because gives more people a chance to see like your work all in one place.
Yeah, that's always fun. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know I haven't been able to see it all in one place before. I've only seen one here and there, and I
Right,
was
right, right.
like captivated by it when I see it. And
Well, thank you.
the first time I saw your work was at Critical Mass in 2016. And I was completely captivated by it, and it was like looking into another world.
Well, thank you.
And I you won that year, and it's completely well
I
deserved.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you definitely you have one of the most unique styles of all the artists I've met in this area.
I
Like
appreciate
it's
that.
completely, it feels very original, like from anything else I've seen.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So I noticed you paint a lot of subjects of chimpanzees, specifically diver, and birds and other things. Can you tell me a little bit about why those specific characters?
So I've always enjoyed the chimpanzee because ever like one of the very first paintings I got to do or did in college was after just a wonderful experience at like a zoo, and it so I painted that, and I've always had this appreciation and strange connection with the chimpanzees and the great apes and things like that.
Yeah,
It's like seeing a reflection in their eyes and a cognition and
like a
consciousness.
familiarness.
Yeah, familiarity.
Yeah.
And so I use that character a lot of the times as a substitute for aspects of my own personality, and it's just kind of a fun little character to include. And then, like you mentioned, the diver and things like that, and I've always been fascinated with the idea of all that equipment that allows us to enter other spaces, right?
Yeah.
And so oftentimes with those characters, they have all that equipment, like the chimpanzee with his life jacket and the diver and all that sort of stuff. But they're sometimes in situations where that equipment is more of a hindrance than it
Yeah.
is an aid in their environment. So
Yeah,
that adds a
because
little
it's
bit to it.
definitely a bulky suit, especially
Of
those old
course.
school
Yeah,
diving
yeah,
suits
yeah.
were, and they were so dangerous at the same
Oh,
time. And
absolutely, yeah.
but you also got to imagine how brave somebody had to be
Oh, for sure.
to
Yeah.
do that
Yeah.
work. But like in the name of exploration,
Right, right.
right? And I liked how you need all that equipment to explore that new space. And I feel like a lot of your work, to me, there's a lot of liminal space kind of there,
Yeah.
and it feels like the diver is always exploring that
Right,
space
right,
too.
right.
And it's interesting because it kind of makes me feel like, yeah, this does feel even more like a whole nother window to another world. And there's the diver. He's kind of like us in the situation, exploring
Yeah.
the work.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and another thing I wanted to ask you about, what inspired the direction you took in your art, and how did you develop your style?
So when I was in graduate school, I got really into printmaking, and especially like intaglio and acid etchings and things like that. And there was this process where like it's so difficult sometimes and so time consuming to etch an image into a surface and get it to come out successfully,
Yeah.
that it really makes you reconsider the amount of imagery that you're using
Yeah.
in your composition and that sort of thing. So I think that had a huge influence on it, because before I was painting these really detailed, highly like realistic or realism and painterly scenes with lots and lots of information about the environment and things like that, and heavily influenced by like Edward Hopper and those kind of artists, that inside, outside, interior,
Yeah.
exterior spaces, and but getting involved in printmaking, I was forced to pare that down, and it was really rewarding. And so I think that and the physicality of pressing a metal surface into a paper and the indentation that it creates and the after effects that you get from it, it was something that I wanted to carry into my painting. So that's where you get a lot of the stripped down environments and the text that sometimes seems like it's embossed in the surface.
It really does.
Yeah. So like there was something about in printmaking that just that immense amount of force that you exert on a paper, a sheet of paper, and the impression it leaves behind, and you always get a remnant of the plate and the
Yeah.
edges. So it has this weird poetic connection with like memory and things
Yeah.
like that, and it's so that has a lot to do with the way it looks. when
I
it's
like
in a
that you
painting
carried
format.
that into your work,
Well, thank you.
and there's almost like subliminal messages hidden in
Yeah.
the work that too. It makes me like, it feels like my subconscious is there saying these words.
Good.
I love that.
Yeah, some of the words are more hidden than others.
Yeah, I've
But I
never.
kind of like that interplay, especially when there's those different versions on the wall next to each other, because some
Yeah.
you see from across the room and some you don't really see until you're up on it and the light catches it and you see that indentation.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I find myself like searching some of your pieces, like, is there words hidden here? And sometimes I'm surprised because I'll find one in places I wouldn't expect. So can you tell me about some of your most memorable pieces that you've made?
Goodness. Most memorable pieces. Uh, I think some of the most memorable pieces are when uh, probably when I test out like a new figure or object or character and it finally finds a place, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of any specifically.
Oh,
And
there's a lot of cool figures, so I can imagine that.
But I think the ones that are the most memorable are probably the ones where it's equally rewarding to me
Yeah.
as it is to the viewer. Because I mean, that's a big portion of the way I approach it is, and that's why those phrases and things are in there, and that's why, like you said, there's so much space around them, is because the goal is like I have my thing about it, right? But if I can connect through this visual dialogue with somebody else,
Yeah.
then that makes it significant as well. So
Yeah, because then someone that's viewing it, you may relate to what you were
Oh, yeah.
feeling when they
Yeah.
see it, or maybe not even have a relation to what you were feeling at all, but they
Right,
see the
right.
piece and then it makes them feel something else about it. It reminds them of something else, and then they're just like, I have to have it.
Yeah.
you know.
There's been a few times where I love when we can get to like a base underlining text,
Yeah.
or feeling a shared experience or whatever. And then sometimes the things people see in it is so foreign to what I intended, but it's just as great and just as much fun to
Right?
hear. I love story swapping, so
That's the
it,
great thing about the human mind and when
right.
it sees
Yeah, of
images.
course.
I love that. Um, So you teach at seminary. What do you
Yes,
teach?
yes. So this is my first year there. I teach studio art. So range from basic drawing, advanced drawing,
Okay.
painting classes, all conceptual content, that sort of stuff. It's
Okay.
been really great.
Well, that's awesome. Okay, guys. So I'm gonna go in for a quick break, and then we will continue this video. So bear with me. We'll be right back. That's great. Do you like to? Do you feel like you are teaching your students how to develop their own styles, or what advice would you give to someone who wants to develop their own style like you have?
Oh, that's a big question.
Yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is.
So when working with students, like I've always, because I've taught prior to this, I've taught K through 12 with the talented arts programs,
Yeah.
and I've always wanted to make sure that they get a strong technical foundation
Yeah.
because
It's
anytime,
needed.
oh yeah, absolutely, communicating imagination in physical form is difficult, right?
It is.
And the more techniques you can have under your belt, the better. And so I've always
Makes
mixed that
sense.
with making sure that somehow they find their own voice in the
Well,
process.
knowing more techniques, the more techniques you know, and then being able to
Oh yeah.
utilize all of those techniques can help you really, I think, define more of your own thing because you knew so much, you were able to find what works for you, I
Oh, for
guess.
sure. And like it's such a great time to live in as an artist right now because it's
Oh,
such
yeah.
a wealth of information and examples and
It
demos
really
on the
is.
internet. So even if you have, once you have like a core foundation of technical ability
Yeah.
and understanding, you can go out and find anything you want to
Oh,
do
yeah.
and know that you can try and attempt to do it and
It's
figure
true.
it out. Yeah.
It's definitely true. I mean, that's how I developed my art. I'm completely self-taught because of.
Yeah.
It started with like how to draw, or how to do the art. Like
Yeah.
how to
Yeah.
books that
Oh
I
yeah.
would get,
Yeah. I
and then
loved those
and
when I was little. Yeah.
right, I have like this old fantasy how to draw fantasy illustrations book,
Nice.
and I still have that on my shelf, and I look at it and it reminds me of like when I was developing
Right.
anything
Right.
I did. And then now, and then as I was growing up, it's like obviously YouTube. You can look up
Oh.
anything.
Oh man, it's amazing,
It
and
is.
it's so, like I said, it's such a wonderful time because like th- it's like all these artists, we're all admitting that we all learned this from someone else,
Mm-hmm.
right? And people have been doing it for centuries or millennia, or even newer things are still based on old concepts, right?
Yeah.
So everybody is just sharing so much information, and it used to not be that way. It used to be
And
much more of guarded secrets and things like that,
yeah,
and now everybody's just like,
everyone's walling
yeah,
out
yeah, but
everybody
it's so
else.
open right now. It's so great.
I think artists have become a little bit less competitive. I mean, it's still obviously going to
Right,
have
right.
competitiveness. We're always going to challenge ourselves and or compare ourselves to each other's work
Oh,
and
of
try,
course, yeah.
like, because it's our own way of self criticizing like ourselves or
Yeah.
criticizing others a little bit. Like, but I think that's a good way to promote each other
Oh, for
growing
sure.
is to that constructive criticism between each other, and
Yeah.
I think that because even though we have videos and everything, we have all that, I still don't think it's quite the same as learning from someone who has mastered
Oh, yeah.
something so
No,
well.
no. I totally agree with that. Like one of the, like I always tell my students, like if you find things, then like of course bring them into the classroom. We will figure
Yeah,
out how to use them together. But I know no matter what I read or saw or tried to do, it was always helpful to have a person with a little bit more experience next to you
yeah,
that could help you. Because sometimes we don't see where we're
everything.
taking things in a difficult direction. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it helps to have that outside observer to help steer you back.
Yeah, and to be there on the spot to help you with
Yeah.
corrections
Yeah.
and to show you what you're technically not doing right on the
Right.
spot. You can't get that advice from the video.
Yeah, you no matter how many times you pause it and replay it, they're not going to
Yeah.
explain to you what you did incorrectly.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So how would you describe, just like the best you can, your process in creating a new piece from the start?
Okay, so uh, from the very, very start, like I just get, of course, like most artists, random ideas pop into your head, all that sort of stuff. A lot of times people ask me where the phrases come from. They come
Hmm.
from everywhere, like dialogue I have, conversations I have with other people, snippets from books,
I was about to
song
ask.
lyrics, like all sorts of things.
Yeah.
But the first thing I try to do is I'll write them down or I'll jot them down, but then I'll also try to recount them in a way where like you get that filtration of memory and like
Yeah.
paraphrasing, or like a friend of mine calls them misremembered quotes, essentially.
Well, you know, I experience that every day in my work.
Right.
Because like sometimes we have to write down quotes, so we listen to what someone
Yeah.
said and then we're trying to type it down, and then we have to replay it
Right.
because I know what I typed isn't ever exactly
it's
what I
never
just
super
heard.
precise, but I love that because it's
Yeah.
like there's that moment of like filtration, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll have image ideas and phrases, and then I'll work in the sketchbook for a while with those images, and then after a while, once that image and composition starts to take form, then sometimes I'll have an intended phrase for it, sometimes I won't, and so it's like kind of playing a matching game, seeing what works and how, and how different phrases can change a composition from one thing to another. And so once I have that, then it's I build all my own panels to paint on, and then there's a lengthy process of building up the surface so that text comes through, and then
I'm guessing you use a lot of gesso to build
yes,
it up.
a lot of gesso. Probably more than I would like to admit, but yeah, I buy it by the tub, and usually about 3 or 4 containers at a time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I think usually in a year, most years I produce anywhere between like 30 and 50 paintings, and so I'll go through at least 6 or 7 gallons of gesso in the process.
That's a lot.
It is a lot.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. Someday I might figure out something else.
Well, I mean, it works for you though because your stuff comes out so good.
So oftentimes because of that, I work on a lot of pieces all at once because it's very process oriented.
Yeah.
And so it's like if I tried to do one start to finish by itself, there's no way I would get even 12 done in a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a lot of it. And then once that surface is ready, then it's just like, because I enjoy the planning process so much, once the surface is ready, I don't have to think about anything anymore, and I can just put everything where it needs to be and play with color and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't stagnate you anymore to have to do all that little prep. But you know, then you can just do the work.
Right. It's like I get to have 2 parts of my brain. Like I get the really logistical, like controlled, precise part, and then the part that just gets to sit in the studio and play in the band and have fun with what we're doing. So.
Well, that's cool. It's cool that you also build your own your own boards and everything.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, one of the reasons I do that is because I do so many at a time, you know, and then others is for that control aspect. Like I can choose exactly the size I want to. And
you're not set to whatever you can find in a store.
Yeah, you're not at the mercy of that at all, which I prefer.
And you could probably make some really unique shapes as opposed to just like
yeah. So you can make some strange proportions, which is fun, and you can play around with a wider range of geometry. You know, like I've done some where I did a series where it was just like hexagonal paintings and stuff, cool. Which was fun because I had to revisit some math that I had not touched at a very long time.
That is the more complicated part, right?
Again, thank God for YouTube, right?
Right.
Because, like lots of carpenters out there willing to show you how to cut odd dimension angles and all that sort of stuff. And
there you go. Yeah, thank goodness for it. So let me see. How can viewers view your work and follow you in your shows and stuff that you have coming up?
Well, I mean, the show coming up on Friday, of course. If you can't attend the reception on the 24th, then you can contact the Agora Borealis, and I think their number is like 318-268-3011.
A good memory.
No, like it's a holdover from before cell phones, right?
Yeah, I'm so bad at numbers. I can't even remember my own. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with remembering like a sequence of numbers. I'm not always good with putting the numbers together.
I'm bad at all of it. To be completely honest with you. All right.
But yeah, you can contact them, and then of course my website is joshuachambers.com, so you can find that, and then on Instagram it's just J Chambers. So
All right,
I always
wonderful.
appreciate any sort of interaction with people. So.
Yeah, I always tell my viewers support local artists, guys, because it's important. Even if you can't buy the work,
Yeah.
it's just commenting, let them know how much you love their work.
Oh, absolutely. It's
Yeah,
not. Sometimes you feel like you're just throwing it out into the void, and
it
so
really does.
when you get that feedback back, it's really nice.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, even if you can't afford it, man, just
Right.
share
Right.
it,
Yeah.
do any of that.
Yeah.
And it's the same. It's so much more uplifting for us. Like, it lets us
Yeah.
know someone notices.
Right.
Even if
Exactly.
you're the one person
Exactly.
that commented on our entire piece, and we know that person thought about us.
Right. Right.
And so thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to say to our viewers?
No, I really appreciate you for inviting me over to talk about things, and it's
It's
been a
no
great
problem.
conversation.
Well, I like talking with artists like yourself, and I'm glad we finally have had a good, real conversation. Instead of just in
Yeah, it's always
passing.
like one of us is we're on either side of the table, right?
Yeah, pretty much. It's always been like that. Well, thank you so much again. If you have any other big shows or anything coming up, let me know, and I'll write an article, and you can come talk with me more about other strange and wonderful subjects.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. All right, take care. All right, guys. So that was Joshua Chambers, award-winning artist. He does amazing work. If you have, you're gonna, when I publish that article, go check out his website. Go see some of the works that he brought into the studio. I got a few pictures of them. Um, really take the time to go through. You can on his website. He has it organized by year, so you can go to whatever year you want and check out what his work looked like at the time and his development and the changes he made over the years. Um, it's really good stuff. So remember also, if you want to just read more articles like that and watch the videos on those articles, go to ksla.com and go under community, and then ArkLaTex Artistry is right there, and all those articles are written by me. Occasionally, one of the other digital producers may put something art related in there as well, but most of them are by me. If you want to watch more of my podcast videos where I interview artists, sometimes it's just features on artists like mini documentaries, or features on art events that are coming up, or features on art organizations. Um, Go check that out on our podcasts or on YouTube. If you look up ArkLaTex Artistry on our KSLA YouTube, we're on Roku, Apple television, Android television. And so look up KSLA on there, and you should be able to find some of my videos on those streaming platforms. Thank you guys again. I'm about to go judge some chili at a chili competition, the Taste of Blanchard, which we talked about a bit. That's happening today. So if you want to go to Northwood High School and just check out the cool craft fair they're going to have there, and maybe get a plate of some competition grade barbecue or chili, this is the time to do it. All right, guys. You have a good day. I'll see you next Saturday at noon. And if you want to watch this again and maybe get a few updates, Wednesday at 11 we have a recap of ArkLaTex Artistry from the Saturday. All right, guys. You take care. Have a good weekend. Remember to support your local artists. Um, it's important, like we said in that interview, just a like, a share, a comment, especially comments. We love to see or hear what you guys love about our work. So it means a lot to us artists, and it keeps us going. All right.